This is a video response to looneylili's. They say Alisa is cheap, just like every other waifu character, and I think she missed a few things. While the intentions of this video are good, because I do understand where she's coming from and what type of people she might be addressing to. I guess it's people mostly on Reddit or Twitter or Twitch chats that don't really understand the game to begin with, or haven't made an effort to understand the character and her weaknesses. But I do think that Looney, you missed a few things. Let me go over those few things. So to me, I need to elaborate a little bit more on what I think is a cheap character. So to me, a cheap character has tools that are applied to the fundamentals that are very good, very solid. So if you can simplify your gameplay with these solid tools and not make a lot of decisions, and apply these tools to a lot of scenarios, I guess those aren't exactly my scientific criteria for it, but I guess you can get the point of what I'm saying. Then those moves can be cheap. I'll give you a few examples. Actually, I guess I'll give you the Alisa tutorial when it comes to like top whatever moves, and you'll see what I mean. And then the character also needs to have a bit of jank that goes away, that either goes away from the rules of the game, or that I won't say that it's hard to deal with, because that's not exactly jank, because solid tools are supposed to be hard to deal with. But geez, now I have to define jank. I guess I should assume, I'll try to assume that people know what jank is about. Like you mentioned, for example, this string here. Obviously, if you don't know that you need to duck the second hit that's a high, that's going to be a huge pain for you. Or if you don't punish things like these that are unsafe on block, that's going to be bad for you. Or if you don't punish stuff like this as well, or if you don't duck that. Yeah, that's not really jank. You can minimize the effects of these moves. Like you can delete these moves from her move list when not used in the appropriate context, if you just have proper defense. For like the proper context, what I mean, for example, is this is a 13 frame move, so this is used as a punisher. You're not supposed to mix it up with this. This isn't something that you just throw out in a neutral, because you can get launched even if you try to do a full crouch mix up with full crouch down forward 1+2. You're not going to be using while standing. You can use while standing 1 by itself, but not while standing 1-2. That's pretty risky. You're going to get launched for that. But let's get to the really cheap stuff that she has, in my opinion. Or I'd say not really in my opinion, because this is objectively a set of tools that she has that are good. So let's start with her standing 4, which is a 13 frame countered launch. It's a high and it's a homing move. It's also safe. Like at any moment you're playing neutral and you can throw one of these out. It's not the range isn't exactly atrocious either. It's pretty good range. It's from around here. That's probably max range. So as you can see, the range is pretty good. I'm going to show you the counter launch. I don't know what the combo is, but you can get something like okay, you can get up for 3-2, I guess. I swear this won't turn into a combo video. Oh, there you go, 66. 66 damage for a countered launch? That's pretty big. Damn. 13 frame countered launch. It's kind of like Steve's back 1 in a sense, except that she doesn't go into flicker. But I mean, it's still homing, and it's a very good move. Very good move. This is hard to deal with. It's hard to, you know, because it's a move that's meant to intercept the opponent's attacks. It's a magic 4, except it's 2 frames slower and it's homing. But it's a good piece of chunky damage. You can also punish hopkicks with this. It's pretty good. Now this. All right, let me talk about this move here. You see the range on that move? That's kind of like Noctis down back 2, except, well, probably the the comparison isn't very fair because it doesn't knock down. It's not, you know, it doesn't knock down, so it doesn't have that same effect. But it is plus on hit a lot. So if you hit at the tip, that thing is like a natural combo. You can see here that my training dummy is set to guard all on second action. So that's a natural combo. 48 damage if you hit from tip range. If you don't hit from tip range, this is still a solid approach tool, because she jumps when the animation starts. And that's a low crush, by the way. That's a low crush. And at the end of the animation, she ducks. So it's going to be hard to whiff punish her. Furthermore, this thing here is a countered launch. So the downside here, I'll tell you what the downside is. The downside... Yeah, wait, how do I... Okay. Alright. So you're serious? Okay. There you go. The downside is if you block it, you get launched, because she enters the stance. The low by itself isn't launch on block, but when she goes into the stance, it becomes launch on block. Now you can sidestep it either way, but it's kind of dependent on timing as well. Sometimes it's kind of hard to sidestep, I feel. Maybe it's because Alisa's sidestep is so good, but still. It's linear, yeah, it's linear, but it's also quote-unquote linear, I feel, with some other characters. Even though I can sidestep pretty easily with Alisa herself. But, you know, it's a linear move, I'll give her that. And it's launch on block, so there is some risk associated with it. But still, the benefits for hitting this move, they're there. Plus frames, tip range, natural combo with the stance 1 and counter and launch. It also crushes. So let's go to other moves. Wall running 2 and wall running 3+4. So wall running 2, it's like Claudio's wall running 2. It has a guaranteed hit, 50 damage, as you can see. From the guaranteed hit. It's plus frames on block. It comes out at like 12 frames. I mean, obviously there's the input that you have to, you know, there's the forward motion that you have to input, so it doesn't really come out at 12 frames. But still, it comes out incredibly fast. And to approach the opponent, former Claudio main does not know how to do wall running 2. Okay, but for approaching the opponent, this is pretty valuable. Now, it's oh, this is gonna take a while. No, probably not. Okay, let's do it like this. Wait, no, third attempt. If this doesn't work, okay, that doesn't matter. What I was gonna say is that this move can be ducked because it's a high. Actually, let me see if I can do something else. Where's the... Isn't there like a way to select the move that you... Whatever. There's a way to punish this move, which is it's a high so you can duck it. And this move also has a weakness to her right, so you can sidestep to the left. But it's kind of difficult to sidestep to the left. This move maybe not so much, but the next move is. So the move that complements this, so you don't end up ducking at range whatever she needs to get close to you, is wall running 3-4. And this move also has weaknesses to one side, so you can actually option select the mix-up by side walking to the left. But this move makes that job harder. And as you know, it's a mid-mid, so you can't duck the wall running too. It's meant to complement that move. Now, it would be fine for that, because in Tekken Tag 2 she had that, and she wasn't considered very good. I beg to differ, because she was very good with pokes. But now, in addition to that, we've discussed earlier that she has down 3. So now she's she can play from this range. She can play from this range. She can do this. She can go in here and do that. Or do this. To approach, that is. So, the concept of Alisa was, okay, you go in, you do some pokes, for example. You do some mix-ups, and then you run away. And then you get back into the range. Well, and because she might have a hard time getting in, we are going to give her these moves. But none of these moves are actually a low. Then again, you could go in and do like a down back 3 or something. But this move here changes things up a bit in her neutral. It becomes quite not exactly honest, I would say. Now, another move, 4-3-2. This isn't a move that you use in neutral. The reason why I bring up this move is because it's... Why did you have to give this character a 14-frame launcher? I'm just wondering. But it's a 14-frame launcher. It's high-mid. No, high-high. What am I saying? No, it's high-high. So yeah, on block you can launch it. You can duck on the second hit. But still, you're not going to be using this in the neutral. You're going to be using this as a block punisher. It's 14 frames. That's cheap, man. Having a 14-frame launcher is valuable in this game. Let's see. Oh, right, okay, so... Classic game 7. Where is she? Where's the rage? I think it's here, yeah. Okay, so classic game 7. Her rage drive is too good. Her rage drive is very good. Very strong. Look at the range here. So from that range, you have a move that comes out very fast. You can whiff punish with it. It's a mid-mid. It also has some tracking. And it's plus frames on block. And you can also go into the stance after that, if I remember how to do it. I think it's with that. Oh wait, no. So right, you can transition into the stance from that, into boot or fly or whatever it's called. So this is the classic game 7 of I have low health. What do I do? Mid launcher that is tracking, plus frames on block, and big range. I mean, there's nothing, and it gives you big damage. There's nothing I need to explain more about this move. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's a stupid move. It's balanced because I mean, she needs rage to do it. But then again, that's her comeback factor. She throws out the move and whoop, eat mix up or get launched. By the way, if I sound like I'm angry or something, I'm not. I'm just being enthusiastic about the thing, and I'm trying to also not sound like I'm dead. Because if I talk like I do normally, then it's not going to be very entertaining. I think, and you're probably going to fall asleep. Hello, brunette potato. Anyway, let's move on. Her full crouch down forward 1 plus 2. You know, it's kind of, I would say maybe kind of slow for a low, but this is like large as a shoot high. This is a fairly safe low. I think it's -11 or -12, something around those lines. I know for sure that it's not -13. This move cannot be launched. So you have to. Her full crouch mix-up isn't exactly scary unless you want to take a risk and do a hop kick. But I mean, that is taking a risk. But this low, it's still good, and she does have a throw from this stance. Now you can say every time that you see her ducking, if she does a throw, just press 1 plus 2. Okay, well, if you don't look at her hands, you're going to be tricked because she can also do a generic throw like that. So that's not exactly a mix-up, because if the opponent's throw breaking is good, then you're going to have a hard time. I mean, if the opponent's throw breaking is good, you're going to have a hard time mixing up from full crouch, but it's still there. Down back 3. This move isn't like it's not particularly damaging or anything, but it's just good for its evasion and its range. Now the problem with this move is that not the problem, but rather the weakness. I'm gonna show it to you. I'm pretty sure that it can be stepped. Okay, so it's actually the other side. So you can sidestep, you can sidewalk this to the left. I was in doubt because there's another low that you can sidewalk to the right. But you can sidewalk it to the left. It's not an amazing low. It's not very damaging. It's not very scary. But it's there and it evades highs and it has pretty good range and tracking to its left. So I don't think this move is cheap at all. This is a normal move. This is a normal poke. It's good. But it does add up to the other moves she has for like keep out and poking that I think are good. So the move is not cheap at all. Back 1, I also like back 1. You can go into full crouch after this move. I like the range on it too. And let me show you the tracking, if there is any. Alright, so it's linear, but because of its range, I guess you can use it from here. That's strange that it's whiffing. I do quite like this poke, but it seems that it's completely linear. I guess you're supposed to use it from like, this move isn't particularly good either, but I've always felt like it was a good movie even to take into account. But still, let's move on. The move that really matters is down forward 4 here. Because on block and on hit, it creates space. Look at the space that creates between Alisa and the opponent. So this is, you'd think that a good get off me move would be like a hop kick. Well, that can be it, but this is also a good one because it creates that much space. And within a backdash, you're in whiff punish range, or you can run away from here. Or if you want, you can go in and do unga bunga. I'm kidding. Yeah, this opens up the spacing game. Even from close range, it still creates pushback. So pushback on block and on hit. That's why I value this move a lot. This 12 frame mid poke. This is a very good poke. I guess should I mention that she has like a down forward 1 with strings, or down forward 1 strings? Because the thing here is that if you disrespect this down forward 1, wait, what's the? I don't remember what the notation is. I think it's no. I think isn't there a move where she shoots the ground or something? Oh yeah, that thing. If they stay on the ground, they can get hit by that. But yeah, this is a safe, not safe, well, both hits are safe, but it's a mid safe string that has kind of a delay to it, so you can't really disrespect it. This makes her down forward 1, which is, 13 frames minus 1 on block. It makes it kind of plus frames. It's not plus frames mathematically, but it's mental frames, I guess. So this string is pretty cheap, I think. I know she has like a high to it, but you can. The high is plus 1 on block, or it's plus frames, but I wouldn't really call it cheap because of that. The mid is what's good. So I think that's the really solid thing she has. She also has like a down forward 2 which doesn't have much range, but it's safe on block. She also has back 3, which is a safe homing mid with kind of, good range, wall splats and everything. So that's the set of tools that I consider very solid for this tool, for this character. Well, I guess her hop kick too. What else is she going to whiff punish with from this range? But let's talk about her hopkick. Minus 13 on block, forcing crouch. Forcing crouch means that the 13 frame punish that the character is going to get is not as good as if it was standing. For some characters at least, or at least for most characters. Kazuya and Josie can launch it, but there's a trick with this move. If you use it, like if you get it blocked at max range, then it's not going to be minus 13 anymore. It's going to be between minus 12 and minus 11. Still, if you want to use this move, you're going to be at this range. Now, there's also another thing that bothers me about this move, which is that it has. So, let me see if I can get this right. So. So I guess with Alisa it's... See, sometimes I get clipped by the move. Ah, there it is. That's what I wanted to see. So you're like, oh, it whiffed, right? It whiffed. You sight it whiffed. And then you get hit by the second hit. See, and that happens. That happens sometimes. So you have to be aware that you have to be aware that if she whiffs that hop kick on the first hit, you're going to be having to you have to look out for the second hit. That's an interesting property the hop kick has. It makes you have to pay more attention to when she whiffs, instead of like, oh, she whiffed a move, she whiffed a hop kick, I'm going to whiff punish now. So that's kind of difficult to deal with. Oh, and there's also, this is jank, but there's also the Alisa players that do like, oh, first hit, you're waiting for the second one, huh? And then they do like a mix-up or something, or they do another one. That's jank though. And speaking of jank, I think it's time we speak of the jank. Some people... Alright, so some people, the reason they complain about this character isn't exactly the reasons that I just stated. The good moves she has, the very good moves, the solid tools. Because they don't really know what solid is to begin with. So, I think that, besides the strings that you mentioned, well, if anybody's still watching this video, besides the strings that looneylili mentioned, there's this, she missed quite a few of these janky things. For example, down back 4, this is reactable. You can react to this move. But it's kind of, you have to practice it, but it is possible. And you can also sidewalk it to, this is the one that can be sidewalked to the right. Jogas na PS4, sim. So this one, there, you can sidewalk it to the right. Though, and the left, I guess. But her sidestep is very good. I think with some characters you get clipped if you go to the left. Well, that's not a problem. Still, this is a linear sweep, and it's launch on block. So you really have to deal with that. Like, this move isn't cheap. It gives knockdown, sure. But there's a very high risk associated with it. I'm doing a thing now, a video now, 1+1, after that. But yeah. So, at the wall... I remember that there were some guaranteed hits with this. Oh yeah, so if you're that close, at the wall you get a full crouch down forward 1+2, that's guaranteed. But otherwise, this isn't any particularly special, low or anything. I guess it has some high evasion, but I guess people don't like this move. They get hit plenty of times by it because it's a knockdown low, and they get all mad and whatever. But this is one of those janky lows that people get hit by, I guess. Now there's her snake edge down 3+4. It's launch on block. Look. I know sometimes you do a low and she goes over it, she jumps over it, but no, okay. This is the move that you really have to react to. You have to react to it. There's no way around it. This move isn't cheap. I think a lot of Twitch and Twitter people or whatever, they look at this and they get hit by it and like, oh, it's cheap and it's a launcher, and I don't know what the combo is. Probably something like that or something. I don't know. But this launches. React to it, all right? React to it. Stop being a snail, like me. Now she has back 3+4, and I did see some Alisas in higher ranks, but because PS4 is free, doing like their game plan was doing this into that, into this, into this. This is launch on block. Damn it. Yeah, this is launch on block. And it's also linear. So yeah, you can sidestep it. But like Alisa's with brains, I've seen use this as kind of a don't get near me whiff punish thing. Like, it's weird to describe it. Like when you feel like the opponent is coming towards you, it's still a risk to take. It's still a risk to take, and there's another thing to take into account, which is the second hit. The second hit is safe, and it can mess up your punish. So you don't get a launch anymore. But if you want, if you can see it, you can run to their back. And get this. So you can run to their back if you do see the second hit. Otherwise you launch it normally. So there's that move. I think like that move has been around since Tekken 6, and I've seen Alisa use it ever since Tekken 6. They never want to get let go of it. Alright, I think. Okay, so there's also, you know, that she has her stance and whatever, and I'm not going to explain how it works, but I guess some people can get pretty mad at how the stance works as well. But you know, this stance is pretty. I won't go into details, but what you have to do in this stance is basically pick your turn right, don't get hit by her saws, and she's completely vulnerable to lows when she's in the stance. So do a quick low, and it'll slap out of it. Actually, if you simply wait, what am I saying? What am I doing? Okay, actually, don't. Right. If you simply do a jab or something, even if she blocks it, she's going to get out of the stance. So pick your turn correctly. Pick your turn with caution. I mean, and use either a low to hit her, or like a down for done or a jab or something quick to get her out of the stance, basically. Now, with all this put together, it took quite some time, but I needed to explain in detail, because you can simplify a character and you can simplify explanations. I could have made this video like a 10-minute video or a 5-minute video if I had broadened a lot of concepts or just listed moves without displaying what they do, or just listing properties. But I wanted to go in depth about this character and explain in meticulous detail that the reason that people might say that Alisa is cheap is not because she has things that are punishable but you can't react to. You also have to take into consideration that if you're in the neutral, you're trying to play against this character, and for some reason you go in, you try to do a jab and you get countered by this and it's 66 damage. For example, that can be a problem. It can be a bit hard to deal with, and I think that's why Alisa is pretty cheap. I didn't even talk about the wall, but if you want to talk about the wall, it's very simple too. So you can poke around and you do full crouch mixes and whatever, and then you slap them with one of these, or one of these, because this is a, you know, I guess I should have also mentioned that standing for wall splats. I don't know what her wall combo is or anything, but Alisa is a pretty cheap character that has some okay punishment. Oh yeah, she even got a 12 frame punisher now that knocks down like Lars, and also wall splats. So there's also that. So her punishment is alright. She's got a 14 frame launcher. Her wall stunning punishment isn't that special or anything. Her neutral is stupid. Her pokes are stupid, and control distance very well. And her counter game is not stupid, but it's good because standing 4. And her rage capabilities are also completely stupid. But obviously, if you're good as a player, you can overcome these. If the Alisa player is doing just gimmicks and whatever, you can get around it. So at upper levels of gameplay, it will take you actually being good at the game to play this character. Though you can get away with murder sometimes, or with less effort than, well, I don't know what character to compare to, but like, for example, one thing is to space yourself so that you can get you can go close slowly and throw out one of these or one of these. Another thing is you're here and like, I gotta go in. I push this button and I'm in. So sometimes you can get away with that. That's the symptoms of Game 7, where everybody is buffed. But still, I hope I can get across the point of why I think Alisa really is a cheap character, and I guess I should say a very good character. Especially this move, man. This move, oh, I've tried to. It's not hard. I mean, it's not very easy to react to. Hope I got the point across, and I added a few points to the already established thing. So when you say that Alisa is an honest character based on fundamentals, you be careful about what do you exactly mean by that, because in Game 7 I don't think there are many characters that you can call honest that rely on fundamentals. Because it takes knowledge of the fundamentals to understand why the moves that I said are cheap, and then you can be a shenanigan master and use all these like all these janky things and whatever and still hit people. So like I said in the beginning, she has a good array of tools that are both solid and janky, that can throw you off guard. Like, you can play solid with her, and then out of nowhere you can be thrown off guard because she has something weird, or, you know, something that requires a lot more of your attention to punish specifically, or she has some evasive tools. I didn't even talk about her stance, but it really forces you to pay attention. She's a very evasive, tricky character. That's about it.